Okay, good evening, and welcome to the January 14th Hanson Select Board meeting. This meeting is being recorded by Whitman Hanson Community Access Television. Please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, well, we're back after a little bit of hiatus, and we are going to pay for it because we've got quite an agenda this evening. But before we do that, we have a brief moment of silence, and of course I will not be able to find it, for Leslie Prario, 82 of Hanson. She passed away peacefully on December 15th with her loving family at her side. She was born in Quincy and moved to Hanson at a young age when her parents opened the Hanson Veterinary Hospital on Main Street. She and her husband, Clayton, of 64 years, raised two boys in Hanson. As an avid reader, there was always an open book in her hand. She worked as a librarian before moving into the computer IT field, where she retired from the Federal Reserve Bank of Boston after a 20-year career. During retirement, she volunteered at the Hanson Library and the food pantry, enjoyed New England travels, several European holidays, and cherished time with her family. Leslie's warmth, dedication, and love for her family and community will be deeply missed by all who knew her, and a private service will be held at a later date. Please join me in a moment of silence for Leslie Prario. Okay, thank you. And up next
is
welcome to the meeting, Mr. Heel. Yep, we need the public announcements.
We are looking for citizens at large to become members of the following committees: the Bylaw Committee, the Cable and Internet Committee, the Camp Kewaunee Commission, Capital Improvement Committee, the Conservation Commission, Economic Development Committee, Energy Committee, Historical Commission, Memorial Day and Patriotic Observance Committee, the Recreation Committee, and the Zoning Board of Appeals. Volunteer applications may be found at the town website, www.hanson-mass.gov, or by calling the Select Board office at 781-293-2131. There will be a special district election on Saturday, January 25th, 2025, at the Hanson Middle School from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. for the South Shore Regional Vocational School District. Voter registration session held on Wednesday, January 15th, 2025 from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. at the Hanson Town Hall. This will be the last day to register to vote for the January 25th, 2025 special South Shore VOTEC school election. Any citizen may register to vote online or by mail-in registration. Any resident citizen who will be 18 years of age by January 25th, 2025 is eligible to register to vote by January 15th, 2025. Absentee ballots are now available at the Hanson Town Clerk's office or for the special district election for the South Shore Regional Vocational School District, which will be held on Saturday, January 25th, 2025 at the Hanson Middle School, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Little redundant there. Absentee voting is done at the town clerk's office and can be done up until 12 p.m. on Friday, January 24th, 2025. For more information, call the town clerk's office at 781-293-2772. And I also have a different announcement. The Whitman Hanson Community Access Television has launched 3 new YouTube channels to better serve Whitman and Hanson residents. These channels provide dedicated spaces for government, educational, and public content, making it easier to find and follow the programming that matters most. Visit WHCA.tv for more information and to explore this exciting update. Thank you.
Excellent. Okay, great. Thank you. Upcoming meetings.
Oh, did I not have that?
Nope, it's the last
Yes,
one.
oh, it's a different page. I am so
Just
sorry.
keeping on the straight and narrow, Mr. Gill.
Oh, my goodness, a page of just upcoming meetings. The upcoming select board meetings are January 28th, 2025, and February 11th, 2025. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hill. We are going to be recognizing Hanson's first responders. First of all, we'll do a million amazing things, but for some particular things on February 11th, our next, not our next meeting, but the following one. Just so that we can have all of the parties involved here, which is like herding cats to get everybody together. So, so that brings us to present candidate for IT director position. Ms. Green.
Okay, yes, Madam Chair, Madam Vice Chair, members of the board. As you know, we have been without an IT director since April, about April. We conducted a search. Well, actually, we went through some formalities through town meeting regarding the salary, regarding removing this from the bylaw, making it a contracted position so that we can have more flexibility. And we conducted a search and collected many resumes. After review of the resumes, Joe Campbell, who is chair of the planning board, who has an IT background, reviewed the resumes with myself, and we came up with 4 candidates, of which we did interview 3, a 4th had withdrawn. And basically after the interviews, we both agreed that the most qualified candidate to present to the board this evening would be Stephen Burke.
Excuse me, Ms. Green. Mr. Gillickson, there's some kind of a weird.
I think that's me.
Oh,
It's
okay,
here.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Okay, all right. Carry on, Ms. Green.
So anyway, I would like to read to the board a recommendation that was written by Mr. Campbell, if I may. So he writes this to me: I am writing regarding my participation in the recent Town of Hanson applicant review and interview process for the posted position of Town of Hanson Information Technology Director. I have a professional background in informational technology during not only my military service in the U.S. Army, but additionally in my career since my discharge of service, which spanned about nearly 30 years, to ask from the town to help in vetting the candidate pool. These processes allow the town to make its best decision moving Hanson forward for a critical staffing position. During the recent weeks, I received 4 applicant resumes to review and attended 3 in-person interviews on December 11th, which is that we did have 1 candidate who withdrew. All applicants were well-versed in municipal experiences, as well as having an abundance of professional background, education applicable to most aspects of the position's requirements. After the in-person interviews, it is my highest recommendation to the town to select Mr. Stephen Burke for the position. Mr. Burke's pedigree and technology experience and education surpass my expectations. Mr. Burke's dialogue with the panel proved his willingness to consistently learn and adapt, instill commitment to the town and position, as well as afford the critical outside-of-the-box thinking a position of this caliber deserves. These qualities have proven to rise Mr. Burke above the other interviewees. And, you know, this is signed by Mr. Joseph Campbell. I myself, Mr. Burke has been helping the town of Hanson with our IT needs since we've been without somebody. He has done it without any hiccups along the way, and he really has kept us going in a forward direction. So it is my highest recommendation with the board to please appoint Mr. Stephen Burke as our next IT director.
Well, and we probably haven't adequately expressed our appreciation for you bailing us out. Like literally with no notice. And it's a sensitive position, right? It's not something we can just, wing in a prayer. Hey, we hope everything's okay. We need to have somebody we can really count on. And you stepped up and I was hoping that, that it would result in you ultimately becoming the person that we hired, but we wanted to go through that process and, and I really am appreciative of Mr. Campbell for giving his time. You know, God knows he gives enough of it to the town, but for also stepping up to help you, because this is an area that, you know, Miss Green isn't an IT professional, and we just wanted to have that second set of eyes and thought process. And so when he ever, you know, came back with that glowing recommendation, you know, coupled with yours, I think, you know, it speaks volumes. Did anybody have any questions or comments or?
I reiterate, thank you very much for all you've done. He's helped me out multiple times in the short period of time that he's been helping us, so it's been very invaluable to have him here.
So what is the effective date for, is it like 5 minutes ago or?
Well, I will, sit with Mr. Burke, and we'll work out, the salary and contract terms. And he will, I gather, present his notice to Whitman. And then, I will provide the board on the 28th with his effective date.
Okay, all right, that sounds good. So
that's okay.
we'll, I'll entertain a motion to appoint Stephen Burke, as our, what is our formal title? I want to make sure that we get that IT
Information Technology Director.
director. Okay, and, with an effective date and terms to be, negotiated, and presented to the board by Ms. Green.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Okay, great. Thank you so much, Steve.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Thanks. We're excited. I almost took your agenda. I was like, where's your?
Took my pen, now you're trying to take my agenda.
Okay, I'm gonna take a few little things out of order, because I really hate torturing people by making them sit through the entire meeting, which sometimes can be like watching paint dry. So let's do our present candidate for police officer, and then, do we have, we've got Kevin Amato,
Yes.
and we've got, do we have?
Elise Stagel is here, yes.
I'm sorry?
Elise Stagel, she's a candidate for Conservation Commission, is
Okay.
here as well.
And what about, we don't have Edward Bailey.
So he has a prior commitment on Tuesdays, with his son plays hockey, so he was not able to be here, but, I have included his resume, in everyone's packet for review.
Okay, all right. So we'll do the police, and then we'll do Elise, and then we'll do, Kevin, and then we'll go back to the order. Okay, so, Mr. Casey? Okay, great.
Okay.
I should say,
I won't take too much of your time here.
sorry, I don't know what happened to our podium, but whatever.
This book was.
Yeah, you couldn't sit at the Inquisition table.
Yeah, but where is our?
What? Yeah, do whatever makes you feel comfortable, yeah.
Interesting.
Just a little quick background. I know the chief had been in here a month ago advising you of a new hire we just took as a lateral. We lost 2 officers last year to a transfer. So in that time, we had posted 2 full-time academy-trained MPTC post-certified officers looking for laterals. We were able to conduct several interviews after receiving the applications through the assistance of Get Badge, which is a recruitment organization. And we were able to then vet through that some viable candidates, and we were able to hire 1 transfer from Plymouth PD to Officer Thomas Malloy, who started last December 23rd. And in that same process, we were able to then fill the 2nd vacancy through that same interview process with a officer, Kyle Crombie. He is an MPTC certified full-time police officer. He's a graduate of Bridgewater State. He has started over at Truro PD since full-time since 2023. And again, just finding an officer and an individual, we were extremely fortunate because Kyle, just like Officer Malloy, round hole, round peg, they fit to the department, they work hard, they're hard workers, and I think we're very lucky to find them. So I would ask Madam Chair if you could just make a motion that Kyle Crombie be appointed as a full-time police officer, a liquor control agent in the town of Hanson, contingent upon the successful passing of a medical exam, background check, and upon completion of a conditional offer, he will be appointed for a tentative of February 3rd, 2025.
Okay, I will entertain that motion.
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor? Okay, great. Awesome, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, then that brings us to, Elise Daigle. Elise, do you mind, we know this isn't the ideal scenario. People do feel like they're being interrogated, but it's.
The Inquisition.
You just sit right here. Yeah, just sit right here. We just ask you, where were you on the night of the 5th? And, you know, gotta have an alibi. All right. Yeah. Welcome. Thanks for applying for the Conservation Commission position. Do you want to just tell us a little bit about yourself and why you're interested in it?
Yeah, I just moved here a year ago. I love the bog country, and I work for an environmental consulting and engineering firm. I have a lot of coworkers that have sat on their local boards and have only said good things about how it's helped them at work and understand town issues and their own laws in their backyard. And I met Anne because I buy soap from her, and she mentioned she sat on the board. And I was like, oh, I really want to actually get involved with the Conservation Commission, so
So I jumped on that.
she did. And, yep.
That's great.
Yeah.
Did anybody have any questions?
Well, I don't have questions. I'm very pleased that you did it, and I welcome you to the fold.
Yeah, thanks, Anne.
I'll ditto that, and I look forward to working with you. I'm also on the Conservation Commission, so we'll
Oh,
be
great.
working closely together on that.
Ed plugs a lot of
Ed's
little.
on all.
If you need somebody to fill in, we're like, Ed, he's on ZBA, he's on, conservation, and probably hoping to pull back a little bit on some
Yeah,
of these
that
things
would be
at
nice,
some point
yeah.
in the future, yeah,
I'm not gonna complain.
yeah. Did anybody have any questions? Okay, great. I will entertain a motion to appoint, and Ms. Green, is this let me just see, it might be.
This is going to be it's expiring June of 2027.
Is this full or associate?
Is this, yeah, that's what I was asking.
It's a full position, I believe, yes.
Okay. Okay, I will entertain that
So
motion.
moved.
Second.
And I see that it's actually on here, so thank you. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, great. Welcome on board. Make sure you connect with the town clerk for swearing in. Our office will send you appointment papers, saying that, we just voted to appoint you. And then you go to the, town clerk, you get sworn in, and then the Conservation Commission hopefully will reach out and get you on to the, when the meetings are being held, get you some of the materials. There's a ton of great training out there. I would really encourage you to take part in it. You've probably gone to some of
Yes.
it. Yeah, the Mass Association of Conservation Commissioners, like volumes of things. Also, take a look, and I'm not suggesting this is the case, but if there's potentially any kind of a conflict with your company and being on conservation, make sure you file a disclosure and go through the ethics training.
Great.
Okay?
Gotcha.
All right, awesome. Thank you.
Thanks, Sean.
Very good. Welcome.
Thank you.
All right. One opening filled and
Really? There we
50
go.
million to go, but that's okay. Mr. Amato, we would love to hear from you. Welcome.
Hello.
And Mr. Amato has applied for and again, is this the
This is an associate, a voting member.
Okay, associate member for the zoning board of appeals. Tell us a little about yourself, what makes you interested in it, what do you do for a job, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah.
I do construction work. I'm familiar with construction. As I get more familiar with real estate, I'd like to get more familiar with zoning to equally match that. That's pretty much it. Construction work, snow work, South Shore born and raised, very familiar with the town. Most faces are familiar. That's about it.
Yeah, I think you're from what I would call a legacy family in town.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, a founding family, maybe. Yeah.
That's good.
Okay, did anybody have any questions for Mr. Amato? Okay, all right, well then, I will entertain a motion to appoint, Mr. Amato to the zoning board of appeals for a term expiring June of
It's
2025.
very short. Can I ask?
Yeah, because that's when this
Oh, that's
term
when the
is.
cycle.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah,
And then when reappointments come up,
yeah. then
it
we'll
comes back on the
yeah.
list, yes.
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Okay, and same spiel I gave to her, reach out to Virginia, she's all things ZBA. She will hook you up, she will tell you what you need to do. You'll get a letter from us and you need to get sworn in by the town clerk. And there is training, there's citizen, training, which if you reach out to our planning office, and I'm pointing because our town planner is here. Maybe he can tell you, and I forwarded some of that information to you too, Ed, you know,
Okay.
as far as some of the
Yep.
training.
Yep.
So they
I'm
can
gonna do
hook you
that,
up
yeah.
with some of the training, for ZBA, because that's a steep, very steep learning
I
curve.
will reach out.
Yeah, yeah.
And I look forward to working on
Yeah.
that board also. Thank you.
Yeah, all right, thank you so much for applying. Good to
Thank you.
meet you. All right, take care.
I'll
All right.
send you a letter.
Thank
All
you.
right.
All right, that brings us to,
Edward Bailey,
yeah, but we don't have Edward Bailey here, so,
move that on.
yeah, so let me see. We've got Elise, Kevin Amato. I'm just trying, because I've got the fire guys here.
Oh, okay.
So I'm thinking maybe we, I know I'm gonna lose my way on this,
Fire
but,
department
I'm
discussion.
thinking fire department
Number
discussion,
seven,
if nobody has any objections. So, greetings, Chief O'Brien, and, Happy New Year to you. Yep,
This is your lawyer?
So for anybody that hasn't met her, this is Anne Marie Buzan. She's the administrative assistant for the fire department.
she is the
Um,
wizard behind the curtain.
Oh, she is
Yeah.
the real boss.
Yep.
She is the real boss. She keeps all of us in line on a daily basis. But we're here tonight, for the first one is to raise our ambulance fees. We do this every few years, and we do use a company that handles all of our ambulance billing and things like that. Anne Marie 100% works with them. Does a phenomenal job with it, and when she met with ComStar at the end of the year and went through everything, we need to adjust our fees to bring us in line. So we gave you a couple of documents on it. One shows the current rates and the majority of the towns that surround Hanson. And then the second page is the recommended increases. So for the BLS rate, we're looking to increase $200 for what we call ALS 1, $400, $500 for ALS 2, and the mileage to go from $33 a mile to $40 a mile.
Okay, so did you wanna,
If anybody's got any questions on it, I would actually
Trying to
direct you
find
to Anne Marie on it.
I'm trying, I know, I just grabbed your budget thing, but it's,
Yeah.
but.
Oh, that's something totally different. I
Yeah,
gave that to
budget.
you for like light reading over the
Okay.
next, couple
That's-
weeks, couple
sure.
months.
Do we have that in here, Miss Green?
I guess not.
Send you Lynn before
Yeah.
vacation.
All right, you know what, I'll get some copies for everybody.
Can you put your tax rates on a little bit?
Absolutely.
Just,
Yeah, so,
okay.
let's see, let's think on like, oh, can you?
Can
Okay.
we,
Because I was gonna say, if you look at like the town of,
Okay, yep.
if you look at some of the towns around us,
All
like
right,
in
that's,
Whitman.
that's really what's most
Okay.
important is some of the
These the same?
competitive analysis. So,
Yeah, so you can
yep.
take a look at
No,
that.
that's the, fees that they're,
yeah,
Yeah.
that's different than that one.
yeah, this
Yeah.
is competitive towns and this is
Okay.
proposed fees.
Oh, okay.
And right now, most fire departments are actually raising rates right now. This is the time of year that they typically gonna do
Okay.
it, either now or in July.
And what does
When they-
ALS, BLS, for those of us who
So
don't have
basic
the
life
decoder
support is basic first aid,
Okay.
to make it really easy, that's putting a sling on it and putting a Band-Aid on it.
Okay,
ALS 1 is if we start an IV on you, if we do one, what we call advanced life support skill, that's one billing rate, and then once we start using either medications, electricity, anything like that, then it bills at what they call the advanced life support 2
okay,
rate.
all right, that makes sense. Did you guys want to see these fees? Because these are the proposed fees to raise.
I see, and
Yeah, yeah.
having had to use the services, I have to say, it's a lot of money for someone who doesn't have coverage.
And so.
It's a lot of money.
Correct. And what ends up happening, and Anne Marie can explain this better, Medicare and Medicaid have set rates. So just because it gets billed out at this, does not mean the town of Hanson even comes close to collecting any of
It's
it.
similar to your
Well,
health insurance.
Medicare and Medicaid didn't help me at all, nor did my
So-
health insurance.
Yeah.
No, but
Full board.
it's similar to.
No, I
you know how-
understand,
yeah,
I'm just
yeah.
saying that I'm looking at all of this. We're in this number here, we're higher than just about everybody, except for Whitman.
So under the current, and again, everybody's adjusting rates, so this was done, how long ago? October.
Yeah, it was pretty.
So
I'm not
probably in
objecting,
October.
I'm just shocked,
Oh, no,
and
no.
expressing the feelings, I'm sure, of anybody who's in my position, that you either die or you pay this much money.
Well, no, people.
No, that's,
That's how
Yeah.
it feels, that's how it
how you
feels.
Yeah, don't, let's not start that war,
I know,
right?
but I'm like,
I mean,
It's
you
so
will
much
not die,
money.
we will still
Yes.
get you.
I know they will, I know they will.
Chief,
So-
you guys send bills out?
that comes from Comstock, but we do have a hardship that people are able to apply for.
I was just
So
gonna
somebody-
say.
And if you remember
Yeah.
about 2 years ago, we, between Ms. Green, the town accountant, Anne Marie, and myself, we meet a couple times a year anyway, probably close to quarterly. That we go through what the hardships are and able to write stuff off.
So
Because if
somebody
you
called
remember
you?
before I talked about it, that we had elderly, that they were coming in and paying $5 a week, $10 a week. We don't want that.
Right.
No.
We don't want that. So those are the ones that will do the hardship paperwork and we write it off.
If somebody calls you and you respond to it and you wind up going in your little cabinet inside the ambulance and you get a Band-Aid and you put a Band-Aid on the person, say, have a good day, are they getting a bill? They're getting a bill for that, right?
Nope, only if we transport.
Oh, so
Only
if
if we
you,
transport.
so if you give services at somebody's house, they don't have to pay for that?
Nope, we don't send a bill for that.
Oh,
Only
really?
for the transport,
Oh, I'll have to remember that.
only for transport.
Well, what,
So when you
guys
use
trying to
Band-Aid,
figure out how to manage the system? What the heck?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, no, it's
I
only,
thought a bill,
Secrets, Rob.
I thought a bill,
Oh, my
people
God.
call the ambulance instead of going to urgent care.
Okay.
Not me, but
Dave, don't give him any ideas.
You're not helping.
What is happening here? What is actually happening, okay?
Yeah, one thing I never understood, and I mean, it makes a little bit of sense, but the way that they do this based on, if it's a fire or a personal injury, a fire doesn't cost anything, but a personal injury does. It's like my house, you don't charge me for, but if you want to fix me, it costs money, but
Again, it's the transport piece.
yeah, it's the transfer fee, it's not,
Yeah.
like, it's just fixing me at my house is fine.
correct.
And
Again, we're not encouraging people to say they don't want to be transported. That is not
No, we
the
know.
objective
We
of
know.
this conversation, okay? Okay.
And again, that's why with the financial piece, Anne Marie is truly the expert in the department on that. So.
All right, so, anything you wanted to add, Anne Marie, like, what?
No, just to reiterate what Rob did say, that Comstock does, we send out a first bill. If there's no insurance attached to it, we request the insurance. We send out a second bill, and then we send out a third bill. And, we let them know that there are hardships available and
Yep.
things that are available to them. We have the Comstar number available readily for all the people that come to the office to say, I can't pay this.
Yep.
But also that insurance, no matter what we bill, insurance is only gonna pay their allowed amount.
Right.
So it doesn't matter if we bill for $4,000, they're gonna give us $1,200 for that
Yep,
run, no matter
yep.
what. So, I
And
mean.
we're not
the price-
going after people for the difference.
Right, and the
Yeah,
price is
yeah.
the price,
Right.
it's kind of like, it's not, to make somebody poorer than they are, it's just, this is the rate, the current rate. And Comstar reviews all that and says to us, your rates aren't in comparison with the rest of the environment that's around you, so,
And it's still far cheaper than a private ambulance service.
exactly,
Yes.
right,
I mean,
Municipalities,
yeah,
billing wise, work differently.
right.
yeah,
Yes.
um, okay.
Yep.
All right, so did anybody have any other questions? No suggestions, just
I'm not making suggestions, I'm just asking a question. I didn't know how the system worked.
Transport only.
okay.
Okay.
Okay, did we want to
We need a
entertain? Yes, entertain a motion to approve the proposed, fee changes for, the ambulance services as presented to us this
So
evening.
moved.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, great, thank you for
And we,
doing
one
that.
more, smoke detector inspections.
Okay,
So right now, all, with the exception of burning permits, we're not touching burning permits. All of our other fees in Hanson are $50 for whether it's fire alarm systems being installed, things like that. Smoke detector inspections are not, they are at $30, so we're recommending to go to $50, which is what the majority of the surrounding communities are around us.
okay,
Last year, we did, I think it was about 153 the last time I looked, smoke detector inspections. Well, it's not a ton of money, it is revenue for the
well,
town.
with a
So we're
lot of the
looking at-
new stuff going online,
Yep.
that could add up, you know?
Yes,
with some-
exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah, so we're asking the board to approve that effective February 3rd.
Okay, I will entertain that motion.
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, great. Thank you, guys.
Thank you
We
very
really
much.
appreciate
Appreciate
it.
it.
Thanks. All right, we have been around the bend and back again, and let's see, we've got Mr. DeFrayis here. And I'm trying to, Mr. DeFrayis, what are we, accessory dwelling unit? Okay, thank you for hanging in there. Next on the agenda happens to be accessory dwelling unit amendment. Good evening.
So, what the select board has before them is, the planning board is putting before the select board for their consideration a revision amendment to our accessory dwelling unit bylaw. There's been some new legislation at the state level regarding the zoning act and section 3 of the zoning act, which affects accessory dwelling units. Currently, as our bylaw stands, accessory dwelling units, whether attached or detached. Attached, under our definition, is an in-law apartment. Detached would be a separate structure on the site that would be a dwelling of about 900 square feet. We require that the special permit process be followed to obtain permits for an in-law and a detached accessory dwelling unit. And that's through the Zoning Board of Appeals. Under the new legislation in the Zoning Act, what's happening now is that's going to be changed from special permit requirement to an as-of-right ability. So a person will be able to, as of right, apply for an attached or detached accessory dwelling unit. So the legislation went into effect, let me rephrase that, the legislation was approved almost 6 months ago. It'll go into effect on February 2nd, 2025.
Okay,
The town, if we have a public hearing and a notice prior to that date, then anyone that comes to the town for an accessory dwelling unit will follow these new bylaws until such time as they are approved at town meeting. If we do not have something in place, our current bylaw will become null and void on February 2nd, and in essence, we will not have any bylaws or any regulations.
okay, that doesn't
So-
sound good.
Right, so we're doing this to be preemptive and protect the town, so that way those regulations would come into play and then go to the town meeting in May for approval. So the process, like any other amendment, is the planning board, which is one of the entities that can propose the bylaw, is asking the select board to consider this bylaw. So what I'm asking you to do tonight is consider the bylaw, which then what you would do is in turn give it back to the planning board and say, okay, give us a report, and we will hold the public hearing and take input from the public and make any amendments or adjustments or edits to the bylaw.
Similar to what we've done in the past with other
Correct.
zoning bylaws.
And the language you have in front of you has been prepared by town council, been reviewed and prepared by town council.
Okay. Okay, so, now, once if we vote tonight to send it back to the planning board, and then you guys vote to, include it in the, town meeting warrant,
Yeah.
and we agree and put it in the town meeting warrant, so there's all these checks and balances.
Yes.
And if it gets adopted by town meeting, by the voters at town meeting, then, is this under planning purview or ZBA purview going forward?
That is still under the ZBA purview. One of the things that we are asking for, requiring, is that there'll be a site plan review, okay? So it's not just the Wild West show.
Mm-hmm.
We're limited, but, we are doing a site plan review because under our bylaw, okay? For site plan review, it talks about anything that is in a business zone or even says residential zone. Now, the ZBA it wouldn't be a situation where the ZBA could shoot it down, but they could condition it. And it also gives the abutters the ability to come in and know what's going on in their neighborhood.
Yep.
And have some input, so that way the ZBA could say, okay, let's say screening, such as fencing or natural screening or something. So
Yep.
everyone kind of knows what's going on versus someone coming in and all of a sudden there's a building permit and they don't know what's going on and they're confused. Because a building permit, when it's issued by a building inspector, if a person was aggrieved by that building permit, they can ask that for the building inspector to pull that permit. If he doesn't do so, they can file with the zoning board of appeals.
Yes, we're aware.
So they can go through that, so they have that process. But a lot of times, members of the public are not aware of how many permits are being issued. They don't have access to that type of information. So at least this, with the site plan approval, will give the abutters the ability to have some kind of input or understand what's going on in the neighborhood.
So are you presenting this to us? Are you getting past that February, whatever it is, date?
So because we'll have our public hearing at the end of the month, January 27th, we'll be ahead of February 2nd, so we'll be protected.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was asking.
Yeah.
Okay, because I do like the idea of having more consistency. I've seen my poster child, and I don't even know the person who lives there, but there's a house not too far from here, where they've done an accessory dwelling unit, and I really just love the way that it sits on that site, and it fits so perfectly.
Where is this?
Where
is it?
It's
here.
right across from King's Landing, like.
Oh, yeah,
Like 2 or 3
Yep.
houses up from
Yep.
Glowin. And, it's beautifully situated and, you know,
They did a
and
good
they're
job.
not even finished. There's still some work to be done, but I mean, every time I drive by, I think, this is what an accessory dwelling unit should look like, and complements, it doesn't look junky, it's, you know, like, so I like the idea of there being some consistent standards, so that it's not haphazard, so that it's thoughtful about where these are put in, because I think they can be a wonderful attribute if done properly.
And we've tried to keep that in our regulations so that it's done thoughtfully, properly. That particular one that you're speaking of up here, up the street, was the first under our current detached ADU bylaw. And the engineer that did the plan, I felt that coming out of that field, that they had done such a fantastic job. I wrote to the zoning board of appeals after I reviewed the application that, look, this is the standard that any application that comes before you should be held to, because they did such an excellent job. So that's the language that we have, and we'll have the public hearing, and we'll at least be covered and protected through that process.
Okay, so I will entertain a motion to, is there a specific motion to approve this being brought back to the planning board for their further action?
Yeah, I guess your motion would be something that you accept the proposed bylaw amendment and forwarding it to the planning board and requesting their recommendation.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? Okay. All in favor? All right, great, thanks again, Mr. DeFrayis, as usual,
Thank you.
we appreciate it.
Madam Chair, if I may, there's a letter for you to sign, that should be in there.
Was it okay, I don't have anything, unless it's separate.
I don't even have that.
You don't have that? Oh,
Oh, okay, hold on, I'll get that for you.
In fact, I'd love a copy of that sometime.
okay.
I have one right here for you.
Well, you're gonna have
Right
my
on
copy.
everybody's folder.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
I think it's in our materials. Okay, great, Mr. DeFrayis. So, do you need a copy of this, Lisa? Or
Yes, we want to give it to Mr. DeFreitas.
do you mind just scanning that in so everybody's got a copy, Tony? Yeah. Okay, great. Thank you very much. All right, we are just chugging along here. That brings us to accept the following gifts received in November, $120 to the fire department and $216 to the police department. I will entertain that motion. Specifically, the police department is for the Comfort Dog program.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, great.
Point of information.
Yeah.
If someone wants to give money to the senior center, to whom do they address?
Well, they should, contact Mary Collins, and they have a choice of giving it directly to the town, or there's also a 501c3 Friends of Senior Center.
Okay.
So they've got those options, and then once she receives the gift, she'll bring it up to town hall and log it in if it isn't the Friends, and it's just to the senior
Okay.
center itself. And then ultimately, we would accept that gift
Okay.
too, it would show up on there. Okay, oh, you did, okay. All right, great. Then that brings us to Hanson agreement with, the Lakeville Animal Shelter. Ms. Green.
Okay, so, the town has, for the past few years, actually many years, we utilize the Lakeville Animal Shelter for any of our, dogs that are picked up, that are running loose, so to speak. Every year, we renew an agreement with the shelter. This year, we do have a new agreement. The Lakeville Shelter is imposing a $500 annual fee that the town will pay to the shelter by July 15, 2025.
Is that new?
That is new, yes.
And that's just for us to secure a place with them?
Yeah, well, also to the Lakeville Shelter had to undergo some repairs and updates after inspection by the Massachusetts Department of Agricultural Resources.
Okay.
So they are assessing the towns that use the shelter a fee of $500 to cover the repairs and updates.
And have you talked to Joe Kenny, our animal control officer? Is that working out? Are we okay with the Lakeville Shelter? Is that the best we can do?
They're the only ones right now that are available, that have available space. The Whitman is closed, Pembroke, not sure of Pembroke, and, I mean, I'm still gonna be working with him to come up with a plan for the Hanson shelter. Because basically, any dogs that are brought to the shelter, there's a $25 per day fee for the dog to remain there. There's also it's a $20 drop-off fee, so the dog is brought to the shelter. It's $20 just to drop them off, and then it starts $25 per day. And if the owner of the dog does not, turn out to pick the dog up, the town ends up paying this fee until either the dog is adopted out or something else happens, which we have to go through a hearing and things like that. So, the town is paying fees for stray dogs out there that must be owned by somebody.
Should we be taking a look at what we're being charged versus what we are charging? In other words, I don't think we should be subsidizing this.
No, you're
And I
right.
think, I'm wondering, is it possible for us to look at what we collect and then give to Lakeville versus what we're paying to Lakeville? And then take another look at the fees we're charging?
Well, the problem is that people do not pay the fees. When we send letters out that
We never get fees?
we don't get the fees.
They get their animal back and they don't pay the fee?
No, not quite.
They just leave their animal there?
Yeah.
They
I mean,
just
that's-
leave it there to be,
Like, just keep
Yeah.
as we saw with what
How
happened
often
Yeah,
is that?
I know.
with that. It does not happen very often, thankfully. There's been a couple of instances where,
It doesn't justify us having an animal control.
we've, in FY '25, we paid out, $670.90 so far, and we still have.
All right, it was
few months
sounding
to
like
go,
thousands of dollars.
Oh, no, not
Okay,
thousands of
sure.
dollars,
Okay,
but, there are
Yeah.
fees and, we do put an expense line together, but it's not mainly to cover the issues like this, but unfortunately, it's what happens out there.
Okay.
So you just told us how much it was for this past year. Can we ask for that on a yearly basis?
Oh, yeah,
I mean, I know
absolutely.
it's a number you probably do have, like you just. were
Yeah,
able
I
to
mean, in
give it.
FY '24, we had that a very unfortunate, issue with the dog, I'm sure
Right.
everybody, I don't have to
Yes, we
go
don't
through that again.
Yep.
And that costs the town $1,135.
Unfortunately, but
Yeah, so,
And because that was such a weird situation, we weren't even able to put like a lien on the house, anything, because the owner didn't actually live in town.
right. Although we did send letters out,
But I know, but
asking for
that was
reimbursement,
like
but,
like a perfect storm of weirdness.
Yes,
You know, like,
yes.
it was like, okay, you know,
yeah.
um,
So, this basically is just the new agreement, that outlines the fee, the fees and the, basically what the $500 annual fee to cover the capital that they used. There,
I'm sorry, Ms. Green, Mr.
yes,
is the $500 addition the only change basically to the agreement? Like other than the dates, obviously it's a year by year. thing,
I
but-
believe last year they charged us $250 and this year they're charging $500.
So it's only a $250 increase, not a
Increase.
$500
Yes.
increase?
Kind of reasonable.
Yeah, yeah. But it does require signatures by all the select boards, so, I don't know if Lynn put a copy of it in your,
The signature?
okay, yep, so we do have it, so, yeah,
Yeah.
so we'll get the board does need to sign, the agreement and then
All
I'll
right,
send it
so
along.
what is the motion that you need on that?
To
Renew the agreement?
renew the
with
agreement with the
Lakeville Animal
Lakeville Animal Shelter, yes.
Shelter For an effective date of,
It would be effective, let's see,
It's December, January through December, I think.
from basically
January 25.
January 25 through, December 2nd. Oh, I'm sorry, January 1, 2025 through July 15, 2025, so.
So
Wait,
it's
wait,
half-
Wait a minute, that's,
half a year?
it's only a half a year.
So what's up with that?
Doesn't it say,
We have to pay
the last
it by
page
July
says it
15th,
goes
but-
to
So we,
December 31st, 2025.
It does say
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, we have to pay.
Yeah, the last
The
page.
last
so we
line.
could, oh, it's on the very last
Yep.
page, okay,
Yep.
all right.
All right, could you just make that motion?
I did.
I feel like you did.
I'll
Oh, here it is, okay.
I'll second it.
Second it, okay, great.
Do you want me to sign this and pass it
Yes,
down?
that sounds
Yeah.
great. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, great. We're not, we guys keep doing aye.
Aye.
We're not in executive session. Okay, that brings us to annual licensing, Miss Green.
Alright.
We've got automatic amusement for Hanson Tavern.
Which is right here.
Renew certificate, and review sign. So basically,
Us.
yeah, so there is an entertainment amusement licensing fee for Hanson Tavern that was not included in the original, packet. So, we do have the license here, they are paid up, their inspections are up to date. So if the board can just, vote to renew that license and sign it, we can get it out to Hanson Tavern.
Okay, I will entertain that motion.
So moved.
Second,
All in favor? Okay, great.
is there a new,
Do you have a new clean one? We've just got the photocopy.
these are photocopy.
Oh, let me, look upstairs.
Well, we can do that
Yeah,
afterwards.
we'll get that.
Okay, and then,
Actually,
then next on the agenda was, the renewal certification review and signing
What's this?
for Cranberry Deli Convenience.
Oh, okay.
C&D retail.
I don't know, there might be more than that. No, that's it, just Cranberry Deli Convenience and C&B retailers.
These are all together. And they were,
Ms. Green, what's the,
I'm sorry, somewhere on here there were originals. Okay.
this is what we're talking about now.
Yeah, so this is, licensee who failed to renew, for the ABCC license. So basically what they have to do is they have to apply for a new license to the ABCC. And the board, as a local licensing authority, need to vote to, grant them a new license, then we sign this, and then we upload it to the ABCC, of which they conduct their investigation, before they approve renewing of the license.
So what,
but why would we approve it if they haven't approved it yet?
Because they need the local licensing authority to approve it before they've done their
Did
investigation.
they lose their license?
And,
They didn't renew it in time.
okay, are they up to date on everything else? Taxes, no violations, no issues?
Yes, yes, they're.
Water bill,
they
fire
didn't,
inspections, everything.
Everything you're talking about.
I'm
Well,
sorry?
It's right here in our
But
packet.
what is the name of the business?
Cranberry Deli.
It's Cranberry Deli. Yep, they didn't renew the license in
Where
time.
is it? Where is it?
In town?
Yeah,
Oh, I don't know the address. I don't know where they're
I've never heard of it.
Yeah, I don't know where
I mean,
they,
it could be a DBA, it's,
Yeah.
Who are they?
I don't even know who they are.
It's interesting.
yeah, I've never, I mean, not that everybody goes by the name that's on their sign.
Hanson Tavern, that's Jane O's.
Right, right.
so Cranberry Deli.
They had liquor licenses that they let go.
Which is highly unusual, because they're kind of coveted.
Yeah.
And do you know if they were full liquor license or beer and wine?
It was beer and wine, but it says here they were at 1373 Main Street. In that little, it looked, that, in that.
Is that right
little
next to the
plaza.
Egan project?
It may be, yeah, it looks like it's across, oh, okay, so you have the Ace Hardware, and right after that is a little, like, kind of old strip mall.
They're
closed.
That's,
They're
so,
closed.
I don't understand why Lynn has that in
They're
there.
closed, they're not even, there's a pineapple cookie company and,
And then C and B
so what is
that?
retailers,
Yeah.
who's C and B retailers?
I don't know, let's see, it's unfortunate, I didn't see this before tonight's meeting, I've been by myself for a week, so.
all right, well, so we're not gonna renew the Cranberry because they're not even
No,
in
we're not gonna
business.
renew that one, so
And
I
then
don't know
the
why it's
C&D, I
there.
think we need to wait until we have further
Yeah.
details on
Yeah,
that.
I mean, when Lynn returns, we can get you full further details, so.
Okay. I
Is
think,
this time
yeah.
sensitive?
well, I mean, C&B's not a business and,
We don't even know
and
who the other ones are.
C&B, Cranberry Deli rather, isn't in business.
Yeah,
And C&B retailers,
C and B?
that's what it says, C&B retailers. Again, you know, it could be like
They're closed, we can just
doing business as,
dump it.
It most likely is.
Yeah, I don't even see them in here, so we'll have to check with Lynn and see who they are.
I've never heard of them.
I haven't either, but,
But it's one of those things that if
Do you know
we
who they
figure it
are?
out, we can get a,
They come up as a tobacco shop, Center Street, Abington.
Abington. Oh.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the permit eyes now to see if I can
Maybe they
see.
moved.
They probably moved.
There's
Yeah, but-
something going in where that Cranberry Deli was.
yeah, there's a, isn't there a little haircut place and there's the pineapple cookie? And then there's a
could this be the pineapple cookie place?
no, because it's a liquor license.
Oh, it's a, oh.
Yeah, that's what, it's a liquor license, which is like, you know, they're highly, it's hard to get and
Retailers.
not something that you should just, you know, let
This
go.
isn't at the end of High Street.
No.
No,
Makes no sense. Why would she
oh,
put this in here?
it looks like it's Smoke and Ashes Tobacco Company. Which, isn't that the one that's in the, post office? I don't know, this is
It
not my
is.
jam, I don't
It
go
is.
to any of these places,
Yeah,
but I,
Smoke and Ashes is the one that's up by the post office, up.
okay,
in
so
Why do they have a liquor license?
So what?
they don't have a
Yeah,
liquor
so
license.
I don't really, I'm not sure
But do
why
they,
this is in
does
here.
ABCC apply to tobacco too?
No.
No, they don't. They will only apply to
So I don't know
alcohol.
why.
I'm not sure. I'll have to check with Lynn when she returns with me
Okay,
tomorrow.
well, we're gonna
why
table
this is
that.
in here. We'll
In
table this
short,
one.
we're tabling it.
We're gonna table
Okay.
it, yes.
Well, we beat that little thing to death, okay.
Oh, my goodness.
And then that brings us to, 2025 May Annual Special Town Meeting.
Okay, so we are, the memorandum has been sent out for departments to start, putting their articles together and submitting that to our office. We are working on the budget. We had many meetings today with departments to go over budgets, to go over, service reductions if, you know, we're unable to come up with an override, and, we are basically in line for our May, town meeting, special town meeting. We're ahead of the game on that, so just to give you an update on that,
So can you, I'm sorry, can you, elaborate just a little bit? So you're meeting with the department heads and you're saying, present a level funded budget and also be prepared that you may need to cut, and what will you be cutting if you
Yes.
need to? Okay, all right,
A reduction in services.
okay.
Yes.
And this is across the board?
Across the board.
Nobody is being spared?
Across the board, no one's being spared. However, we have, this is on my town administrator report. We're entering negotiations with all the unions. So we're gonna have to see where they come out, with the unions. Some of the department heads are looking to to have their salary increase because they are considerably underpaid from where they should be. Where we've had department heads leave. So in order for us to be competitive, we're going to need to raise the salary, where we have many other towns that are neighbors to us also looking for the same positions. So right now, there's a lot of things, there's a lot of moving pieces to this.
Well, we're never going to be the highest paying town.
Right.
But if you're doing a competitive analysis and you're finding that we're going to bleed good people that we need to keep, then we need to hear about it. But we need to get the facts about what are other towns paying for these positions. But we're never gonna be the highest paying town.
Well, we're not gonna be the highest paying town, but what we're offering makes us an extremely low-paid town for the population of this town and for the new growth. And, you know, we're just not gonna get, we're not gonna get the candidates with the certifications that are required for the positions at the salary that we're offering.
We understand, we definitely understand.
And I have been conducting salary surveys, which I believe you've had in the past, but I will put all those together again. For basically the three positions, actually only two, because we've already covered one, so there's two positions, that we're looking at the salaries for. So I will get those to you,
Okay,
so.
all right. And do we have any, one thing I would, I think people should think about articles that they would like to, if there's anything in particular, like a burning desire of an article that you would like to include in the town meeting warrant. One thing I would like us to look at, and I don't know if May is the time or when the timing is, but, town hall needs some TLC. The outside of town hall is looking pretty bad. I sit at Ferry Sunoco and I look up and I'm seeing peeling paint and a flagpole that looks like, who did what to who and got away with it. So I would really, and this is no slight to anybody who's responsible for doing, the maintenance, because we probably haven't given them the money, to do what we need to have done. But, if we could, give some consideration to that, that's just me. And again, the rest of the board needs to decide when it comes to articles, if that rises to the top or not.
Right, yeah.
But I think I continue to be super concerned about our lack of being, and I really hate using this word, proactive, about our buildings. We are
Correct.
probably so reactive, it's not even funny. And it never gets cheaper, because this is when you're springing leaks in roofs, literally, and you're gonna run into all kinds of problems. So I know we've talked about that before, like the buildings, the state of the union of the buildings, what they look like and all that. So I personally would like to have some thought, and it doesn't mean we're gonna fund it, but we need clarity in order to know, okay, here's all the competing priorities, and then we discuss what falls to the top of the pile, what falls to the bottom, and then we put it to the voters, and they may agree or they may disagree.
Letting buildings fall down is very costly.
It is. And I feel like we're kind of like it's our fiduciary responsibility to try to take care of the town's assets. Anyway, I don't want to beat a dead horse, but
Especially with all the work we did on the back of the building, which was a lot because it wasn't maintained.
correct.
Right,
Yeah.
correct. And, that actually jogs my memory. It is three positions that we're looking at. And one of them happens to be, a facilities manager position who would be responsible for all of the buildings and the maintenance and, the upkeep of the buildings. So that's a position that we have been without, that town meeting has created. We do have, a salary line for it. Now we just need to fund it and we need to, post for it.
Yep.
You know, but for right now, we do have someone that's kind of doing that job a little bit here and there, the best he can. Yeah, so actually, he did give me some information today regarding exactly what you were speaking of.
Okay, all right.
Yes.
And then, like I said, you know, I'm sure we'll have a brainstorming session, about, about what, what other things are important to people.
Yes.
But speaking of what's important to people, the next item on the agenda is budget override consultant discussion. So, Ms. Green.
All right, so, we have approached the, John Guilfoyle Public Relations Agency, who assisted us, with and I even hate to bring it up, the water tower issue. They were very good with helping us, respond to inquiries, things like that. With the hours that they gave us for that proposal, we only used about 7 hours out of 36. So we have 29 hours, of which they, can help us with communication of, budget education and override education, for our residents and the public. What they are going to do is they're going to create a website for us that will have all information regarding our budgets, regarding the budget process, regarding an override, the override process. They're going to look at different departments, provide basically as much information as we can get out there on the finances of the town, the services that we provide. If an override fails, then what services may be impacted by this. Their proposal was very, very reasonable. We'll be using ARPA money to pay for this. They keep the website up to date. They increase the information into it.
No, I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. And I'm just asking the board to,
So
basically,
can we talk about funding?
Yes.
Where is the money coming from for this? Because we are in fiscal crisis, and we're heading into an even bigger fiscal crisis. So where's the money coming from?
from ARPA money.
Okay.
We did have ARPA money that we already paid for the crisis communication services, back in October when that happened. So we used ARPA money to pay for that service. So the rest of this service is being used, the rest of these hours are gonna be used towards the budget, education, communication.
We bought a package of hours that we didn't use them all up.
Exactly, yes. So we are continuing with that. The website design, again, we had ARPA money left that we're using for this. It's $9,000 for the website design, for all the information they're gonna update. They're gonna continue to update it. We have a year's worth of service on this. And the website is ours always, and I believe they'll make a link to it, so that people go on our website, they can click on the link and come right to this website that will have calculators, questions, answers, we'll have, budget information for each department.
So will it be similar to the one that South Shore Voc Tech has for their project?
Yes.
Which is like a microsite, which I really love because
Yes.
I don't have, no offense, but if I don't want to read about everything else having to do with South Shore Voc Tech, I don't need to.
Right.
I can just go to this thing that's about that South Shore Voc Tech
Yes.
article, and everything I want to know is right in that link. I've got projections by town, I've got, videos from the superintendent, I've got a video showing that the conditions are really cramped and they need to be improved. I've got like literally anything, FAQs, it's been very thoughtfully put together.
Yeah.
So that if you truly are in search of the facts and you're not coming in with a preconceived notion of how you're gonna vote, but if you really want to get the facts and arm yourself with the facts before you, make a determination about how to vote, it's all there.
It's all gonna be there, yes. I mean, they've done this type of project for other towns, and other school districts as well. They've done this type of project. They're professionals, so that they know how to, the right kind of language. They can reword things for us because they are a PR firm.
And they understand that we're not advocating
No, there's no
For-
application for that.
It's a fact presentation.
It's the facts only, just the facts, ma'am.
Yep.
Facts only, and, it's gonna be very beneficial because we've never had something like this before.
No.
We haven't had an IT director, so having somebody, with this knowledge build, and once we do get our IT director on board, they can kind of help build it as well, but for now, we've got these folks on board, and they can start the process, and we're gonna start feeding them the information, the budget process and things like that.
And if it's ours afterwards, I would really truly love to use it prospectively for future town meetings, to house all the information that people need for town meeting in that one site. So you're not having to hunt and peck and, what do I look for to find this or find that? Nope, everything you want to know about articles that are going to be in a town meeting, all there.
Be a great.
Yeah, it's basically, we get the first year for free.
Yeah.
There's no charge for the first year of hosting and supporting the website. After that, it's $199 a month that we can put into the technology, but they will continue to host the website, software updates, nightly backups, website updates, 24/7, 365 support, so.
But what if we want to break away from them and like take it on ourselves? Because like we're gonna have an IT person, we've got staff in our office, like maybe we, after we get through this like initial, hump,
Yep.
we're like, yeah, we could do this ourselves. We don't want to be locked in forever. Like what happens
We're
then?
paying the $280
There is-
a year for domain registration, we're gonna own that, all we have to do is host it.
there should be my notes on. the
I don't
meeting we
have
had
your
with them.
notes in there.
Actually, everybody should have a
In
copy of
in a
them, I did
packet, and
put them in
asked
there.
questions like
Is
that.
it attached to the Guilfoyle thing?
It's
It
not
was
attached, no,
It
it's
was
separate.
separate.
I don't have it, so.
All right.
It has Lisa Green's name at the top, just an
No.
email from.
I think I did see that somewhere.
All right.
But I asked these questions
I
and
had
did
extras, so I thought I'd put one in.
get
everybody's,
answers that
Folder.
might
So
direct us.
am I right, though, that we will own the domain? No? We don't? We're
No,
paying for it?
they own it. Well, we own the domain, I guess. We keep
Okay.
paying them, but as long
Okay,
as we keep paying them, they will keep the site up. And
Right.
our URLs will work.
But it's a
The
matter of
minute we stop
hosting.
paying them, a URL that somebody gave somebody else is gone. We cannot get it back.
no, wait a minute. If we
We
own
can't take it
if we own the
in-house.
domain,
Yeah,
you
the
can
domain
host
is
it
just,
elsewhere.
what? The
You can
domain's
host
not
it
the
elsewhere.
data. What?
You can
Yeah, we
host
can,
it elsewhere.
No, you can't.
Why not?
Well, you'd have to use their program. They have what they call permalinks. So if you have a site page, it says hanson.com/
I'd like
whatever
to see-
URL.
I'd like to have this looked at from the point of view that we
Sustainability.
have the ability to take it over.
This does not allow that.
Well, can you talk to them?
We could negotiate it, is my
Yeah,
point.
That's-
can you talk to
yeah.
them about what we could do to make sure that it's sustainable going forward for us?
We can't afford $200 a month.
Yeah.
No, we need to
Yeah,
be
no,
able to
right.
take the wheel sometime, at some point.
At some point,
Yes.
yes. And when we do have the IT director on board,
Right.
that would be very helpful as well.
But it would be nice to know that we do have that option to buy our stuff outright or whatever we have to do to.
Okay.
Because if we own the
Yeah.
domain, I know that stuff works that way.
What works that
The
way?
domain, you own a domain.
You own the domain, but the data,
I understand that, but the data
Yeah.
can also be moved. It can-
it's in here. It's in here.
Even though the
I should've
data's
given-
embedded, we could recreate it, I think is what Ann's saying, under that domain. If we own the domain.
But we could do it, there are permalinks, which is just it's not a URL, it's a URL, but it's
I
got
know
some
it is.
funky characters. To rebuild that is not a simple
No,
process.
no.
But I don't think they're going to be that unreasonable about it. I'm sure that.
Okay, I don't know. I'm not against it, I was just trying to get the facts.
Yeah.
And that's all I was trying to do.
So you agree, though, to the extent we could make it more sustainable for us to take the wheel?
That scared me.
We would like to do that.
Whenever I asked
Again,
about
it's
that,
not a deal breaker, but it's definitely, we would feel a lot more encouraged about it, if we were able to get some assurances that they'll be good partners and give us the wheel at some point.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. But, they will at least, for 1 year, they'll get us
Yeah.
through, what we need to accomplish, hopefully the information we need to get out there.
we provide the data to them and the words to them. They're not massaging our words. They're basically putting what we give them up on a site, correct?
They're gonna put what we give them up on the site, but if they do think that it could be worded better,
They're gonna put their
Yeah.
PS.
they'll put their PR skills to work on
I
that.
don't think they're gonna, like, ultra wordsmith it or anything.
Right,
Yeah.
But I
right.
think if they're like, man, are you sure this is the way you wanna say that? This doesn't make sense.
No, I
and the
agree-
average
I agree with
person won't
that.
Understand, you know, yeah.
I just, as a select board, I don't see I'm looking for the value in it. And I'm not seeing the value in what they're providing. And you,
The
and if you
value
want
is
to.
we don't have the staff to do anything. We really don't. If this is a huge amount of data and information that needs to be
We
provided.
still need to provide the data and information to them. They're just gonna host it.
Well, no, they're building.
They're also gonna be
calculators.
working
They're-
on, communications, like client, public facing communications.
They didn't seem like they were gonna be doing much of that, from what I got. I'm not sure if you thought differently, Lisa, but it
So
doesn't
did
seem
you
like
get the
it.
budget, the communication plan? It should be on the back.
Yeah, I saw that, yeah.
Yeah, so, basically, that's their communication plan for us. And this is all that they're going to do for us.
I know, I saw it.
How many hands?
But,
But they're not gonna create the flyers or the mailers, right?
they're going to work with us on press releases, the website posts, the flyers.
Yeah.
Slideshow presentations, Whitman Hanson Express. So they are gonna work with us on, those different things.
But I guess we needed to know what they're doing, because they said they are not going to be, it says Whitman Hanson Express op-ed. What does that mean? They are not gonna write an op-ed.
Yeah, that's what they're gonna do. That's what they're supposed to.
Yeah, they're gonna help.
This is what they do.
That's-
Yeah.
Okay, they told me no, but,
Well, you need to clear it up.
But the budget, this is their plan. Why would they put it in their plan if they're not doing it?
So it does say, JGPR, can assist in writing content, determining communication strategy, and disseminating information. So they do assist us
I mean, it
with.
seems like they're gonna lead us to how to set this up. But somebody needs to be,
They may
this is
have-
not me, we're not gonna hand this to them and say, hey, here, do a PR this isn't a PR site, this is just information only. But they're not gonna take our information and massage it to make it, they're gonna work with us to get the information right. And when I say us, there needs to be people on this side to be us.
Oh, of course, they're
And
not
it says
gonna,
right there, it says they can assist in
they're
writing
not gonna,
content.
they're not
Doesn't
gonna
say
put
that they're
anything
going
out there
to, it
without
says
us
they can.
approving it first.
Guys, the
Right.
reason you hire a PR firm is to do this kind of work.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything nefarious here. I think we're getting exactly what, at least we.
No, I think
understood them to
Ed
get.
wants to make sure that they're not putting a spin that we're not comfortable with, or that
Yeah,
that
I don't
isn't
even
the
think
way
they're gonna
we.
spin
I don't
it.
think they would do that.
No.
No, I don't think they're gonna spin it, I think they're gonna take our words, and they might, if we send it and they're like, well, that doesn't really sound right, can we change this? I think they're gonna be changing minute amount of our content, from what it seemed like.
Yes,
to
but
me.
they're going to be managing the communication project, which we do not have the staff to do.
Okay,
we just don't.
if you think that's what they're doing,
Okay, well, maybe you would.
okay, I wanna make sure
Well,
that.
when I spoke to them, that's what they said they were gonna be doing, is they were gonna
Okay.
be actively putting together suggested website posts for us to be putting on, press releases, all that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And one thing that, I forget how much it is for the design of the site, but if you look at all the other sites we went to, they look exactly the same. So the design is done.
It's
They're
done.
gonna all look the
Change
same.
the name.
What is it?
All you gotta do is change the name. They
All
already
you gotta
have
do
the
is change the
blueprint.
name. I mean, the name and a picture. They look, all the other towns look the same. So we're paying for website design
It's already been done.
that's already been done.
Right.
But
Well, I mean, they have to handle.
they did it
Yeah.
in the past. They did it. I'm not saying we don't owe them money for doing it, but they're putting us into an existing framework.
It sounds like you're not in favor of it, which is totally fine.
Mm-hmm.
Because I just don't really hear, I'm not hearing like, other than that you just aren't comfortable with us doing this.
Yeah.
I'm not hearing a reason why we shouldn't be doing it.
For two different reasons, and the one was that once the content's there, we have to pay them $200 a month for those links to work. Unless somebody can say something different, that's what I asked for a month.
We have a meeting in May.
What?
We have a meeting in May
Mm-hmm.
that we're gearing up for, and the contract gives us 12 months of free. 12 months is included. We don't get charged until next year, 2026. We can just
Free
say,
what?
we don't want it anymore,
Yeah,
and it's gone, and we haven't paid $200 a month
That's
for it.
fine with me, but those
That's
people
what it's
that,
saying.
the townspeople that say, I want to go back to look at the budget proposal for 2025.
Oh, we'll still have there'll
It's
be
gone.
redundancy. No, there'll be redundancy. We'll still,
Yeah, it'll be
yeah.
redundant.
How
Yeah.
we get, how? That's what I'm saying, is how is that, are we gonna be copying it somewhere else?
It's our paperwork, it's gonna be our warrants and our information. and
It'll be like on
we'll
paper, or we
Why don't
could,
we just still put it on our
It'll
town
all be on
website
our
like we
town-
always
We still
do?
have
that's what I don't understand, is why we're not using our town website.
Because
It's
you've been
hard
on the
for them
town
to have
website
it.
I
to
know,
try to
I
find
know,
information,
unfortunately.
and we really need people it needs to be super easy for people to get this
Yeah.
information.
Unfortunately, we have lost the girl that was helping us do this. We don't have her anymore.
Yeah, and, you know, we don't have an IT director
I
who
shouldn't
can
say
show us how
young lady.
to develop a page and put that all on there.
Do you want to circle back with Steve Burke and find out whether he feels that he could create a separate microsite on our site that could host this information?
I would feel comfortable if Steve Burke feels comfortable with this. If he feels comfortable with this and my notes. If he feels comfortable with it, I'm 100% on board.
Have you had a chance to talk to, I mean, I know there's a million things to talk to Steve Burke about, but have you felt comfortable?
I think, we talked a
Yeah.
little bit about it, but not to this magnitude, so.
Yeah, I would really value his opinion on sustainability, even cost, you know, whether he thinks this is reasonable, you know, whether he thinks it's a quality product, you know, that type of stuff.
Right, and just remember too, we're already at the end, almost the end of January.
I know.
We have February, March, and April, we only have 3 months.
Yeah, we need to
So,
be getting the data
Steve-
out there. I don't think the presentation of the data is as important as the data. Do you know what I mean?
I disagree too.
What do you mean? We can't, if you work on this presentation for another 2
Try finding that
weeks,
stuff on our website.
what is it?
Try finding that stuff on our website.
I know, our website is a
have
mess.
the-
I'm not saying that.
And then have regular people trying to find that stuff on the website.
I would put it, I know how I would do it. Unfortunately, it would be different than others would do, but it would be on the front page and it would be right there. And it wouldn't be going to find it. It would be a spreadsheet right there. Done.
We've done that, and then people still say they can't find the calculators, or they can't find the da-da-da. And, you know, just a moment, because we're obviously deep in a conversation here. So I understand what you're saying. Yes, clearly, in order to present the data, we have to have the data. But I think having it is not enough, and we've seen that in the past. We've had data up the wazoo, and people just aren't looking at it because it is not easily understandable. It isn't being presented in a way that is intuitive to people, like, oh, I want to know this, I want to know that. Like, it makes sense to us and maybe the people at town hall, but we're not, like, we've got to go in with fresh eyes and say, if I'm an average person looking, and I want to, similar to what I just said about the South Shore Voc Tech, if I want to educate myself, and I haven't already come in, you know, deciding how I'm gonna vote, but I truly just wanna get the facts. We need to present the facts in a way that are easily understood.
No, I don't think anybody disagrees.
And of course, the main thing most people wanna know is, how's it gonna impact me?
Yeah.
What services am
But
I
you
gonna,
talk about this
you know?
calculator, but like I hear, and I'm gonna sound stupid here, but this big calculator, it's like, okay,
It's
my
an
bill
Excel
is,
spreadsheet.
it's not even an Excel spreadsheet, it's
Yeah.
a multiplication statement.
Yeah.
The rate is gonna go from X to Y. Put in your house value, multiply it by X, this is how much you pay
It's
now.
not brain surgery.
Put in your house value, multiply it by Y, this is how much you're gonna pay. That was the calculator.
We've had them before.
It's
We've
not
had them, we've had
a
them
big
before for
complicated
other things.
calculator.
We've
It's a
had,
multiplication statement.
and we've even done, even if you don't have it, interactive, you can have bandwidths of, if your house value is from this to this,
Right,
it's this, if it's this or that. So, there are ways of doing that, but people do like to plug in, like, what am I actually gonna get, impacted?
And, again, we are losing valuable time because May comes up very quickly. We don't have an exact start date for Steve Burke yet. So I don't know when he'll be on board full-time to
Well, I hope it's
kind of
not gonna
watch
be
over this.
too much longer than 2 weeks.
I wouldn't hope, but still, we don't have an exact date for him, so we're already at the end of January. I'm gonna be out at least 1 week in February.
We're not at the end of January, honey, we're in the middle of January.
Right, well,
We're in the middle.
it goes very quickly.
No, this is a very condensed time frame.
No, it is.
And we do need to start getting information out there quickly,
Right.
to folks.
And
And I
with
don't
the
wanna
ARPA
slow
money,
that
if
down.
we don't spend it on things like this, we've lost it. We've lost the ARPA money because the time to obligate the money has passed.
The money's gonna go, so just burn it.
Do we
and
want to take a
That way, we're not spending stupid.
vote on this tonight, or what is it that you
Well, I
like?
think we're locked.
I would like a vote on it tonight so that really we can start getting the information to these folks to start uploading the information. And, I've worked with departments today and asked them to write summaries for us on how, if an override does not pass, how this would impact the services. They're all gonna write a summary for us. We talked about it. I'm gonna take it up and get it to these folks here so that they can start uploading it. So we are working as quickly as we possibly can to start getting this information and getting it to them. There's a lot of moving pieces on this, a lot of moving pieces,
I know
so.
there are. I know you hate it when I call you Mr. George, but I always feel overly familiar when I just say David in a meeting. What are you thinking on this?
I don't know. I'm kind of like, the way they got it worded here is like Ed was just saying that, they're not, I don't know if they're clear on what they're actually gonna do, or like if you read up in the top there, it says, we can assist in writing content. It doesn't say they're going to assist in writing
What does the
content.
contract say?
I don't know. I don't have the.
No, I'm asking Lisa.
So we have a contract, let's see.
Are they sending out mailers, postcards? Are we paying for that? Are they doing that? Flyers? What are they doing?
Usually for
Paying
mailers, you're
flyers in the liquor store
usually
and
for
stuff?
mailers, you're paying for the postage, but not for the material itself. Because we have,
I mean, if it's ARPA money that we're gonna lose,
it is our,
if we're gonna lose it, then you might as well use it. If it's money that, ARPA money can be rolled over to use for something else,
it cannot.
all right, then if we don't use it, we lose it, then I guess it makes sense to go forward with this.
Well, not to forget that basically, we're using hours from the prior agreement, which was the crisis management services.
So we're locked in for that.
So, right, we've locked in for that, and what they do is, they review the information that is released to the community, prepare a companion media statement or letters to families when appropriate, availability for in-person response, availability to serve as a PIO function. So we still have all of this that's included with that. This agreement here is mainly for the website design and up of the.
So for the other part, which of course we know we need, and we've already signed a contract anyway, we might as well spend that money. I would like a little more specificity, like, we're going to do 2 mailers, we're going to do, 3 pieces in the paper, we're gonna do 4, I'm making these things up, but what exactly tangible thing are we going to get for our money?
So on the, with the communication plan under the strategy, it says 1 to 2 content pieces
Okay,
per
you're
month.
right, it
So
does. Yep.
what I can ask them is, does that mean they are going to create the pieces or we create the pieces? Because they do have that here, depending on the amount of the news happening. Proactive posts that educate the community. Again, is that something that they create the post, or do we create it and then just kind of hand it to them to upload?
Okay, and then-
It says they can review and edit, and slideshow presentations and other materials being presented to the community. So with the hours that we have left, they can look at and edit things. Like, we plan on doing videos that I've asked the, community access to help us with. They can then take these videos, look at them, edit them, and then upload it onto, again, the website. And it says that they
My
can.
one thing I really want to make sure that they're super clear about, there's no second bite at this apple. We're paying for it with ARPA money. We don't have any other money. So if they come back and go, well, you know how it's going to be, no.
Well, extras.
Yeah, no
Well,
extras.
The extras already are outlined, basically, that the only extra was,
You say educate the community, I think there's probably gonna be people out there that are gonna say, you're not educating us, you're trying to sell us something.
you'll always have people
Well,
that say
I
that,
think-
so.
I think there's gonna be more people thinking that we're trying to sell them something than educate them.
I think that's part of what.
No?
No, I agree. I don't
No,
disagree.
Look, it is our job to tell people what's at the end of the day, voters make the decision about how the tax dollars are spent, okay? That's why we have town meeting, that's why we have elections and ballot questions. It's our job to say, here's the facts, here's what happens if the override doesn't pass, and here's what happens if it happens if it does. We're not trying to sell anybody, it's just the facts. We're not making making people vote one way or the other, but people need to know if we're gonna have cuts and fire or at the library or whatever.
Or COA.
Yeah, I mean, these are realities, and we're not, this isn't hyperbole, we're not getting, we're not trying to rattle people's cages. I don't wake up wanting to pay more taxes, I don't want anybody else to have to pay more taxes. I mean, for Pete's sake, we're all people that have, checkbooks we have to, balance too, but I just, so it's our job to educate people. We can't just say, we want an override, we're not gonna even really tell you what happens if it doesn't pass. You're gonna just have to guess, what happens, and it's our job. People need to make an educated decision. So I know people might take umbrage to the term educate, because it does somewhat sound like a little belittling, I guess, or something, like, oh, we're gonna educate people. I would say inform would be a better way of putting it.
Yeah.
And I know that that's maybe finely dicing the onion, but I think it's important, that terminology, because, people may very well be educated, they're just not informed about this particular issue. And we've got a situation where not only are we looking at potentially having to cut some of the first responders, and I know people will do the inward eye roll and, groan and whatever, because they think that we roll out the human shields of the first responders. We've actually never cut first responders in town. We don't want to cut first responders in town. We've done everything we can to attract people, to retain people, to treat those unions well.
I have to say something. The one thing we want to cut, we can't.
We have no control
We
over.
have no control over it, and people need to get that through their heads. It's not us that's spending that money. It's another whole board, and there's nothing we can do about it.
Over 50% of what our budget is, and ever increasing,
control over.
we literally do not have any control over.
I was saying to Laura, distinctly remember when I first moved into town, my tax bill coming to me, and over on the left-hand side, there was an explanation, a little explanation, general town services and school department, and it told you how much of the split was there. That's gone, that's not on the tax bill anymore. I'm gonna see if I can find a tax bill.
Can we add that back in?
Well, I was gonna
I can't
ask, do you think you
see,
can
I
talk
don't
to
know
Lisa?
when it disappeared, but it disappeared. They don't do it anymore because they don't want people to know how much.
Yeah, but we
goes
send
on
the tax
taxes.
bills out, so we can control that. I wonder if we could ask Lisa Clark if
The
that's
printing's not
doable?
even there anymore.
Run for school committee.
I'm not running for school committee.
I have
They
too
don't
many
want me on
committees.
that school board, believe me.
You're
run-
already
I'll run for school
oversubscribed,
committee.
you're already
So the
oversubscribed.
tax bill used to show,
It used to show on the left-hand side.
Yeah.
It was a breakdown of general services and school department. And
So-
it gave it a split of how much, it was a percentage, it wasn't the money, it was
So
like,
then there's
you know,
real clarity about how you
67%,
tax
33,
dollars.
whatever it was, I can't remember what it was, but it was there, and it's gone now, it's disappeared.
Okay.
It would be good if that was a number and a percentage.
Well, yeah, you could do that probably now more
Yeah.
with computers,
Yeah.
we could get the data.
Yep.
But that, I really think that people need to understand that we're supporting an elephant we can't do anything about, and then we have to support the town services that they want. They want good police officers, they want good fire department.
You know,
want their
some,
streets
with
plowed,
talking with
They
the
want their
department
speech
heads,
Phil.
although that came up the other night in wonderful social media, where they were complaining about the treatments of the
Oh,
roads.
because we did it too with an inch of snow or whatever?
And it was ice underneath.
I think
Yeah.
that the majority
been
of
a-
people responding to that were like,
Oh,
gee,
they were.
we're not going to let people kill themselves
Yeah,
to,
yeah.
you know, yeah.
If we didn't treat the streets or do whatever,
Oh,
you
yeah.
would be hearing
It'd be
from the
another
other
thing.
group. It's like,
Exactly.
So, with talking with department heads, you know, some of them really, they put this whole override thing in phrases that you really makes you think. Hanson has outgrown our our fire department, our police department, our highway department, our COA, our library. Hanson has outgrown that with the amount of growth and development. And we're not talking business, we're talking housing,
Right.
which means more people are coming to town. You know, they really are coming up with really good thoughts that I never would have thought of. And when you look at the elderly who are in their homes, and you want to look at the value of that home, you know, if we start reducing services, the value of that home goes down. Because if they want to sell their home, who is going to buy it? A young family with children who are in school. They're going to look at the schools, because that's what they do. And if they see that our schools are not that great, they're not going to buy that house. They're going to look at other towns, but it's a
The
circle.
schools are going to be fine the way they're going right now.
Right, so what they're going to do, they're going to see
But look
that the
at the-
schools are good,
Look at what happens with the police.
the property values are good, and a young family is going to purchase that home from the elderly couple, which is going to allow them to go where they want to go. So that's the circle that, you know, I never thought of it that way. But who's going to buy the homes that the aging population has? The families.
People don't always,
families.
act in the moment for their future needs. You know, that but by nature, people tend to focus more on the here and now, and
Right.
I'll tell you one thing that really concerns me is, if we're looking at potential cuts to first responders, we've already got a situation where many times, we have all of our fire trucks out on calls, and we have to call for mutual aid.
Yes.
And after a certain point, I have to think that some of the surrounding towns are gonna say, is it really mutual aid? It feels like you guys aren't properly staffed. And I don't know I don't know how they balance all of those things out, but more and more often, I'm reading, Whitman helped us, Halifax helped us.
Yeah, but fire chief told me that they spend a lot of time in Pembroke.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He
and
spends a lot of
I'm
time in
Hanover is
Pembroke.
having the same discussion.
They're all
They're
of the
having
surrounding
the
towns
same-
are having the same
Right.
discussion.
Well, there's
Yeah.
there's a solution to this, but nobody is going to like it, and that is more county government and more
More what?
consolidation
County
of
government,
resources.
You know where I stand, I love my
I know,
county government.
I know. But anyway,
I think we should do it where it makes sense and
Yes,
keep
exactly.
pushing it wherever it
Yes.
makes sense.
I mean, folks did get a taste of what reduction in services is going to bring when we had to close the transfer station on Sundays, when we had to do reduction in hours of 2 departments, and people came in for transfer stickers and they couldn't get them because there was nobody there, because of the reduction of hours. So that was just a small taste of what is yet to come. If we have to do a major reduction in, a $2 million reduction in services. That's going to impact every single department in town, and people are just not gonna like what's gonna happen.
I mean, yeah, when you start getting to a point where you're talking about cutting, I think the last, situation, yes, they might have gotten a taste, but really on a day-to-day basis, how much did it really, maybe, yeah, and it's inconvenient, the dump was closed one day, transfer station, I'm sorry. And I gotta say, it did kind of get my knickers a little bit in a twist, you know, because like, I'd like to go on that particular day that it was closed. But, you know, I got over it, I modified my behavior, whatever. It was temporary, it was short-lived. I think a lot of times when the hits are up at town hall, people don't really feel that on a day-to-day basis in their life. But when you're starting to talk about, you might have to actually cut services to seniors, you might have to cut the library, which for a lot of people is like, you know, it's their main way of interacting with people and getting out of the house and,
Right.
you know, keeping their brain going. You might have to cut police and fire for Pete's sake. I mean, you know, this is serious.
And like you say, people say, oh, it's the personnel you're talking about. It's we don't have much else to cut from. When you say, oh my goodness, you're gonna get rid of these services, I'm thinking, okay, if you don't do what you just listed, what else would you cut?
There isn't anything.
It's
We don't
not
have
like you're saying, you're cutting the places that matter most. No, we're cutting everywhere, and we just happen to be everywhere is the place that everybody sees.
Yeah.
I mean, our office has been operating on one person for the last week and a half.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. All right, well, we've beaten that to death. Now, how do we put a bow on this to try, Mrs. Cafardo.
The only thing I was gonna say is a couple of things. We had, my experience in my house, we had to wait, when I called 911 for my husband, like probably 14 months ago. We had to, a police officer came to the house. The 911 operator said, the police officers are on the way, he can stay with you until an ambulance can come. Okay, I knew it really wasn't a crisis, but if it was, my husband would have been dead right then. I think that the senior center and the library are a refuge for a lot of people. There's a lot of mental health illness, there's a lot of very lonely people up in every town. I also think it's best to start with a statement that these are the facts. We want to inform you. We're not selling, we're not, this is the current situation. This is what the situation will be if this override doesn't pass. And then, it's up to the individual residents.
It's up to the voters. We'll do the best, whatever the results are, we will do the best we can for the town. That's what we took an oath of office to do. We will do the best we can, but we cannot, we cannot have people working for no money. We cannot, we can't not pay our bills. Those aren't options. So, we'll do the absolute best we can. We always do. We stretch our dollar as much as we possibly can. But it's concerning because I just think about, what a great job this board has done at getting, the police officers replaced, getting the fire replaced, retaining really good people in both of those departments, getting the highway department up to speed with, filling those requisitions, getting some amazing people in town hall that really are experts in what they're doing. Lisa Clark, Tony DeFrace, the list could go on. And all of that is potentially jeopardized, and not only that, you have to think about, if I'm an employee and I know my worth, am I going to stick around in a town where I feel anxious about whether I'm going to have a job tomorrow? These are all real considerations, and I worry about it. I really do.
Well, last election in May, when the last hired person in the library was already looking for a new job and got a new job.
Yeah.
Because he can't be without income.
Yeah. It's anxiety provoking for people. It really is.
And it always puzzles me how people can think that we can continue to run at the same level when their costs are all going up. I mean, I just came from the grocery store and I was shocked at what I paid for 3 or 4 bags of groceries. I'm cheap. I'm cheap. I was shocked.
At the wrong store.
No, I'm not shopping at the wrong store. I shop prices. I don't stick to one place. It's more expensive than the one I go to.
Don't rattle her, Kate.
Oh, I'm sorry, people. I'm very easily rattled right now, and things are just not good at home, and not at my house, but it's tough out there right now.
No, I have sticker shock at the, I used to be like, oh, all right, yeah, that seems reasonable when I'd get to the checkout. Now I'm like, oh my God, what the heck did I get in here? It's like, I don't have caviar in here, what's going on? And insurance costs have gone up. I mean, everything has
Well,
gone up.
insurance has gone through the roof.
Yeah, it's crazy. And of course, we have to absorb as a town, we have to absorb all of those additional costs. We've got increase in health, care costs and insurance costs and retirement costs, and it just goes on and on and on. Okay, well, so I want to make sure we're being responsive to your concerns. What's going to make you feel comfortable? And if you're just a flat no, just say it and it's fine, and we'll just move on and take the vote. But if there's something that we can do to make you feel more comfortable, or if there's something specific that you'd like Lisa to look further into, let us know.
I personally can't, if we took a vote today, it would be a no.
So we throw the money out the window.
How much are you talking?
Gone.
I thought,
We've already paid it. Oh, $9,000.
Yes.
what?
9,000.
Bye. Gone. It's okay.
I don't think you'd be disappointed with the work they're gonna do. I don't think we'd be disappointed. I think that, this will help get as much information out there and facts out there as we possibly can get. And in the end, we can say we did everything we possibly could.
We need to know you're gonna manage them on this.
Oh, yeah, yes.
And that you're gonna really be our voice, and that it's gonna be, reflect Hanson and Hanson's values, and then just circle back with us as much as, obviously, we don't wanna micromanage, the process. That's what you're paid to do.
You would receive everything, before it actually goes out, just to make sure, look at it and make sure it makes sense and things like that, so.
And the
I
fact
mean,
that,
I agree with Ed, but if the money's there, Ed, and if we don't use it, we're gonna lose it, why throw it away? If it can't be used for anything else other than what we have right here, then it's like you have a gift card and it's gonna expire, well, are you gonna go buy
but if I'm
something?
gonna go buy something that I'm never gonna use,
Well,
I don't wanna buy it.
use it
We're gonna
for
use
this
it, you're
purpose.
just not gonna use it forever.
We're not
Yeah,
gonna use it for-
my problem is
You throw the money
we
away.
are biting off something, we don't know what we're biting off. And I'm a little bit confused at the cost, because you said we have ARPA money, not ARPA money, we've already given them X amount of money that we haven't used.
Right, the $9,000 is
We're
an
not
extra.
giving them any more. We're not
So what are you talking about the $9,000
Giving
then?
them $9,000.
What's the $9,000 come
That's what
from?
we've spent.
So
That was a
the
contract.
crisis communication services, that was $9,600 that we've already paid.
We've already given them.
Yeah,
Right.
this was
So
for
we're
the
not
crisis
throwing that out the
information.
window.
Well, we are if we don't use it.
That's not questioning the communication, you're questioning the website part, right?
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
Them hosting the website is what I'm
He's not
questioning.
questioning the.
That's the whole thing I'm
They
questioning.
host it for a year. It says that right in there.
It says that for a year.
Okay, so
If you're okay
At the
with
end of the year-
losing that site
Okay,
when we stop paying.
I'm fine with that.
Is everybody okay with losing the
I mean,
site?
obviously, I'd like to keep it,
We'd
but I
like to
don't know
keep it,
how
and we may be able to. We may be able to.
I would like to try to have that conversation.
Why have it for a year and then lose it, then might as well not even have it at all?
That's what I'm saying.
And that's what we can talk to
Need to
Steve
get
Clark
clarification
about his
on that.
thoughts
'Cause you
on,
know-
on the site.
Here's
Next
my
year,
very
people are gonna
strong
wanna
suggestion.
compare apples to apples.
And we'll still have that information. We will host the information on our regular website. We'll have to have redundancies.
Okay, that's
If
fine.
it turns out that, that what we think is the worst case scenario is gonna happen. We'll definitely have to have redundancies, because we
Yeah.
don't wanna have a situation where 2025 never happened and people can't look at that information. We definitely don't want that. I think, would you feel more comfortable if we say, we're moving forward because we've got that money, we can't use it in any other way. However, we would like Steve to opine on whether there's some way that sustainably we could pull that information to our website after our term expires. I think we'd all really like that, to be honest.
Yeah, yeah. And remember, we are
That is
working towards a
definitely
new
helpful.
website with
Okay.
revised, so, I mean, the information's gonna be different.
Right.
And again, with Steve working with that, you know, we can say, hey, we want to make sure we have a place that we can put this information on the new website. And then Steve can take it from there.
Okay, all right, if we could do that.
Yeah,
So
on our new
did you say
website.
you need a vote from us tonight? What are you looking for from us?
Yes, I would like a vote of support to move forward with, you know, the PR firm with helping us with the budget / override information, informing the residents and giving them the facts.
Including the website.
Including the website.
Including hosting.
With the proviso that you will work with Steve Burke to find a way to make this,
Move over to.
move over to our website.
Yeah, I mean, I'll work with that, but.
Or a redundancy of
Right,
like,
when we have the new website, and I don't know how it's set up or any of that. Emily was doing work on it. You know, it's kind of just sitting right now,
but
so.
clearly he could create a page
I'm
and
sure he
put
can, very
documents on
easily.
that page.
Yeah, I'm sure he
Okay,
can
I
very
mean,
easily.
I'm not
I
a
just
whiz,
don't want
but
to
I
give an answer because I'm not
created
the
websites
expert in
and
that.
Yeah.
I get where Ed's coming from, because Ed doesn't wanna be the guy that come in a year and say, hey, I told you so.
But in a year, we know that it's only gonna last for a year. We know this.
Then why have it if we're only gonna have it for a year?
Because it's a tool for
This is
the
an
override,
ongoing
Dave.
thing. You'd
It
want to
is,
be able to
okay, but,
compare
so,
year after year
so
after
Lisa's
year.
gonna make sure that
We're not
we've got
asking
that
for a year
on
after
here,
year after year
and then we've got, okay, so is anybody gonna make a motion?
I make a motion, what we just said, that we move forward with this
Is anybody
website
gonna
proposal.
second
And we understand that there are limitations to it, and we're gonna see what we can do to pull everything in. I make that motion.
Okay, is there a second? I can't make a second because I'm,
Well, if there's no second, then we're not gonna do it.
I don't know, wait a minute, under Robert's rules, am I able to make a second? I really don't know, I've never had to.
I believe you can, because you do vote. You do vote on these.
I think you can.
I'm not, I don't wanna screw it up if I do,
You can.
there's something in me that says that,
Okay, all right, so we have a motion, do we have a second?
Do we have a second, Dave?
It's on you.
What?
That's on you.
Oh, man.
That's
I
on you.
will second it.
okay. And
You're a
then,
pain.
It's on you.
any further discussion? Not that I'm really encouraging it because I feel like we've really discussed this, but,
You're the computer guy.
okay, all in favor?
I am very reluctantly. in
Okay,
favor.
and again, with the caveat that we're going to find a way to make sure that that information doesn't disappear.
Right.
Yes, that website might, but the information is not going to
Information will not
disappear.
disappear.
Right.
Yeah.
It will not.
And you know, when we have an IT director on board, such as Steve, who is very good with training people to use the website. You know, when our office gets back up to 3 people, we're gonna have that other person who will do exactly what
Yeah.
Emily was
Yeah,
doing,
right,
but on a
if we
better
got,
level.
Like Ed said, if we lose that external website,
We're
Let's go on.
building redundancy,
What do we
so we're
have?
not going to lose it.
Exactly, yeah, we're gonna build
We're gonna,
redundancies.
what are you saying? Dan?
Yeah, we're gonna have
building
redundancy.
so what are you
As
gonna
long as we
We've
have
said the
redundancy,
same
you're
thing
You're
talking
gonna
about.
copy that external site to our site?
The URL that somebody gives out may not
need a
work.
second.
We're
They'll
gonna
be able
have
to-
all
we'll
the
be able to get it
documents
for
we
them.
give to them, we will have retain,
Yes.
first of all, there are documents, so we
Yes.
can just
Right, but
put a
they already
page.
have them in a format, we might as well just build our own thing.
Well,
That's
she's
my-
gonna talk to, she's gonna talk to Steve, but it's a separate website, and it's,
Again, we're back to throwing out the
yeah,
money
all
then.
right, we already took the
Okay,
vote, all right.
And if Steve wants to talk to me, I'm more than,
Yes, that might be a
Willing
good
to talk
idea,
with
so
him.
then you could
Yeah.
personally express what some of your concerns are, and he could see if he could be responsive to them.
Yeah.
Okay, wow,
that was a quick one.
all right, that was, well, the rest of the meeting went swimmingly well and quickly, but you know what, this is important stuff, and we're not always gonna agree, but what I do dig about you guys is we're respectful, and I totally respect everybody's point of view, and I hope you guys feel the same way,
Can we
so.
burn through these
Definitely,
appointments, please?
Huh?
Can we burn through these appointments, please?
So, all right, go for it. I need oh, well, one thing I did think, Lisa, that was a little strange is I think we need to accept our local building inspectors, well, I guess,
They're both on here.
yeah, all right, so, can you discuss, the Kerry Glass
I can knock
resignation?
off 2 of them right now, and then we can do Kerry.
All right, go for it.
All right, I would, I move to appoint Mary Mercier to a 2-year term to the Board of Registrars with a term ending March 31st, 2027, and Nancy F. Brown to a 3-year term to the Board of Registrars with a term ending March 31st,
Do I
2028.
hear a second?
What is it?
Can you second that?
I'm gonna second it.
I mean, I'm not coercing you to second it, but okay.
No, I'm gonna second it,
All right,
yep.
all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, great.
The only thing is, she's my neighbor, I just want to just have it out there
okay.
Well,
that shouldn't matter
I
at
mean-
all, but just want to have it out there.
Is
Yeah.
that lady that I talked to?
What is it?
Is that lady I talked to?
Probably,
Yeah.
yeah, yep.
She's a lovely person.
Yes, she is.
All right, accept Emily Sprague's resignation as administrative assistant to the select board and town
So moved
administrator.
with deep regret.
Yes,
I'll second it with deep regrets.
yes, and we thank you, Emily,
Yes,
and wherever you are, we love you, and we hope you have the best of success. Emily has gone on to the, what? It sounds
To the
like
water
she's
department.
passed away, but she's moved on to the water
She took a
department, which
job
is,
at the water
which is awesome, and I think it's, gonna be an increase in pay and hours, and we wanna take care of her, she's been great, and, so, all right, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, great.
Did we do
And then, no, we didn't do 12,
Okay.
because I wanted to kind of
Okay.
accept
As long as
Carrie's
you know.
resignation first and then circle back.
Oh, okay.
So, Ms. Green, we have a resignation from our local building inspector, Carrie Glass, which was effective Friday, I believe.
Yeah, Friday, February, January 10th, yes.
Okay, I will entertain a motion to accept Mr. Glass's resignation as the local building inspector.
So moved.
I'll second it with regrets.
Okay, all in favor? Okay, great. And then that brings us to appoint Edward Bailey as interim building commissioner expiring 6/30/2025. Ms. Green, oh, I'm sorry. Did you specifically mention their expiration of the term?
Yes, I did.
Okay, all right,
I
great,
did.
great, thank
Yes,
you.
you did,
All
yeah.
right,
All right, so Mr. Bailey, you do all have a copy of his resume
Yep.
in your file. He's currently the building commissioner in Halifax. He's a certified building commissioner. He has many years' experience. He is helping us out while we do, conduct a search for a new building commissioner. He is able to, he was here yesterday, for about 2 hours. He was here today. He has gotten some inspections, done. So he is working, very well with the administrative assistant there. And basically, it's very easy. Halifax is just going to invoice us for his time. That way, we don't have to worry about any kind of, an employee here, any benefits or anything like that.
So
They're
we're
still-
sharing him with Halifax.
We're sharing him, but Halifax is still, basically.
his home.
That's his
Yes.
home. They handle all the benefits and things like that. So we're gonna be invoiced on the hourly basis that he is,
are we
working
having
with
to
us.
pay for benefits?
No,
Okay,
no.
so it's just
Just an
hours.
hourly.
It's just an hourly rate.
So he's
yeah.
a certified ICC building commissioner. Does that mean he's got every license that he needs?
Yes.
to-
Yes, he can
All
sign
up
off.
to date.
He can sign off
It's all
on
up to
everything.
date. He can sign occupancy permits, occupancy, occupancy permits and things like that, so.
I
everything's up
noticed
to
that he
date.
still owns Vantage, Solar, which is fine, but I would very much like to have him, make sure that he's signing a disclosure, with us, saying that he owns that company and he's aware to the extent that he were doing any kind of work in town that he would need to recuse himself and we would have to
Okay.
call somebody else in.
I can get that done.
Did we state how much the rate was gonna be?
I don't,
So, yeah, so basically, it's $45 an hour.
that's pretty good.
And if he does exceed, 40 hours, then Hanson will be paying the overtime, which is about 67.23 or something like that.
Exceed how many hours?
So if he exceeds
40.
40 hours.
44.
In aggregate,
Aggregate, okay.
Right, aggregate.
Okay.
Aggregate,
We're
right.
paying the overtime.
We're paying the overtime, yes.
Also, if he's, would you combining his hours in Halifax?
It's
Do we get
aggregate,
a,
right.
do we get
So
like
if
a
he's already
minimum?
got- So
yeah.
if he's already got 40 hours in Halifax, anything he does in Hanson is time and a half?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
So do we get any, like, are they allocating 10 hours to us or just like anything over 40 hours? And
Yeah,
is he
no.
gonna work his 40 hours for Halifax? And so we're always gonna pay
Well-
$67 an hour?
Yeah, no, so Halifax is having a downtime right now, so when he's not, when he has time, he comes over here, and, puts
It is
those
pretty slow
hours
in all the
together.
building
So
departments.
what's the work time? He won't be saying, I've gotta be at the desk for 40 hours in Halifax.
No,
I'm not
right.
doing anything.
Right.
But if he's, like, he's gonna be able to step away from Halifax.
Right,
To work with
and,
us.
you know, because Halifax is not as busy as we are right now, he's got that. Like I said, he was here yesterday for about 2 hours, he was here today, I don't know how long, but he's getting the inspections done, which is important.
And how are you going to coordinate with Halifax so that we're not getting played against one another? Like, how are we gonna make sure that when he says he's in Halifax, he's there? And I don't necessarily care about that part, but that's up to Halifax to keep track of. But when he's in Hanson, that he's in Hanson, and we're only paying for time that he's in Hanson working on Hanson projects, like, how are we
I
gonna?
have all faith that he is going to be truthful of the time that he's
Is he-
here.
Good, I mean, are you gonna be meeting with them, just kind of to, like, how are we gonna?
I was there yesterday, I was there today, I can't keep track of, like, every hour that he
No,
does.
I don't want you to
just don't have
micromanage
that,
him, but I'm just, you know, like, will Jill kind of let you know? Are you gonna just kind of check in a little bit?
Yeah,
you know?
so Jill, yeah, so he will put give his hours to Jill, and then she will forward it to me, and then we forward, you know, then he gives the hours to Halifax, and then they send us an invoice, and then I check it and make sure
Okay.
everything adds up that way.
Okay.
I mean, hopefully, we won't have to do that for very long.
I was gonna say, so what's Plan C?
Yeah, so
guess.
part of my town administrator report, we did conduct a search, we did receive some resumes. We are having an interview Friday for a building commissioner position. Somebody who is a building commissioner, he's worked for many years for other municipalities. So we are interviewing him on, Friday, as well as the Veterans Service Officer. We're interviewing a candidate. Both actually come with high recommendations from people they've worked with, people they know, things like that. So, you know, hopefully we will not be in this situation for very long.
Okay.
I have, all faith, I have to have faith.
All right, so I will entertain a motion to appoint Edward Bailey as interim building commissioner expiring 6/30/2025.
So moved.
Second.
And should I also mention in there that you're gonna be negotiating a contract, or,
No, there's no contract.
okay, so.
Yeah, I mean, we have an intermunicipal agreement, that basically Halifax has right now. You know, our town council drafted it, they looked at it, they made some changes, it came back to us, I just filled in the amount.
You don't need us to make a motion for you to enter into the intermunicipal agreement?
The next meeting, we will have that.
Okay, because it will be more finalized? Okay,
Yeah,
great.
unfortunately, you know, with timing constraints, we had to have somebody on board under the law, so.
Yeah, no problem. So, I think I had a motion. Did I have a second?
Second.
Okay, amazing. All in favor? Okay, great. All right. Whew, this has been like a marathon. We are just, making up for lost time here. All right, that brings us to, one-day liquor licenses. I will entertain a motion to approve the 12/28/24, birthday party and the 1/18/2025, baby shower.
I don't have any documentation on the baby shower, not that matters, but
Yeah, we got the dollars here.
We don't?
We don't have the baby
is
shower.
that the baby shower? That's John.
No, we got this is for the
Oh,
20.
you know, I'm sorry, the baby shower came in at a later date, so I did not have a chance to make a copy and put it
Okay,
in.
but you've seen it. We've gotten paid.
The check is upstairs, yes.
All right.
Yes.
Good catch, Mr. Heel.
Yes.
All right, so I will entertain a motion to approve those two.
Second.
All in favor? Okay, great. I will entertain a motion to approve the December 3rd and December 10th meeting minutes.
Did you move?
Yep, I moved.
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Okay, great. Any committee update? Well, Economic Development Committee, I actually do have a very quick but important update. I'm wildly excited to announce that we are going to be having a Hanson Business Summit on February, let me get the date right, I want to say it's the 27th. And let me just quickly look. Yes, it is. Up at Camp Kawani from 5:30 to 8 o'clock.
What?
February 27th, from 5:30 to 8. Our strategy, our objective is to have some folks from Town Hall up there so that if people have got questions or if they've had any issues as a business with how do I do this, how do I do that, We've got people on hand to answer those questions. We're also gonna have a very brief, and I cannot emphasize that enough, remarks from our legislators, in like 5 minutes or less. And hopefully, we're hoping, our new representative, Ken Sweezy, can come, and, Senator Brady and Representative DeCoste, we're sending out invites to all of them. I'm really excited to say that, Ernie, oh my gosh, I just lost his name, from Webster Printing, anyway, he has agreed to, be a speaker there. I reached out to him, great guy, really loves Hanson, feels like Hanson's really done well by him, and if you've seen his business,
Yeah,
it's
it's growing.
expanded, and he employs a lot of local people. So he's, willing to speak. We've also got, Bill McDonough, who is speaking, and he owns Scribende, which is a company that's in, Hanson. Talk a little bit about what businesses can use for how they should, present themselves on social media. And we've got a few other people that are out there. We'll have some breakout sessions, very light refreshments. I'm hoping the Hanson Business Network folks join. This is for aspiring and existing business owners, so there's no credential checking at the door or anything of that sort. If you're just interested in opening a business, growing your business, you already have a business and you just want to know what's up, or you've got questions, we would love to have people come. We'll get more formal invites and more information out there, but this is the Economic Development Committee with, of course, the lovely assistance of Tony DeFreitas and the lovely and talented Kimberly Cunningham up in the planning department. So that's what I've got on that. Anything going, Uncle Joe's not here for High Street. Anything going on?
Highway committee meeting next Tuesday morning.
Amazing. Whitman Hanson Regional School Agreement Committee, we've got that meeting tomorrow. And we will report back. Any other committee updates? Okay. That brings us to Town Administrator Report, which it seems like we may have stolen quite a bit of your thunder throughout this meeting, but.
That's okay.
Yeah.
It just makes this shorter. So, Madam Chairman and Vice Chair, members of the board, so I just want to welcome the new year, 2025. It's our first meeting since the new year. Hope everyone had a nice holiday, family and friends. It's a lot of positivity going into the new year. I look forward to really working with our Hanson departments and making 2025 a flourishing year for all of us. Town Council and I met with two of our unions to commence negotiations. Our contracts right now are up in June 30th, 25 this year. So, we are commencing negotiations, and we are working to, schedule some dates with our other two unions. So those are, we're right up to date on those. And even though some of the MBTA, the communities is deeming us not eligible for some grants, we are still eligible for grants under our insurer, who's Maya. So we are receiving a grant for $4,800 that will pay for the managed endpoint detection and response cybersecurity monitoring. The cost of that's actually $9,600 for the year. Plymouth County is paying half of it, and then we have a grant for the other half. So basically, we're getting that service for the next year covered by funding from other sources.
Well done.
So very happy about that. We were awarded the final ARPA. As you know, I did put in 2 extra applications for ARPA funding in case that there was extra money. Unfortunately, I did get word that there was really no extra money, but we had about $4,900 left. So we did receive the ARPA money of $4,915 to purchase 2 AEDs for the fire department. So they're each $2,700. So we at least, we did receive that. And that basically we used all of our ARPA funding, a total of $1,542,293.20.
Need another.
All used, saving Hanson residents upwards of $300 on real estate taxes, as well as being able to complete capital, do the major construction of the Pratt Place culvert, purchase vehicles for fire and police.
What is doing? I'm sorry to interrupt, but how is that doing?
They're still conducting the conservation part of it, in like the boring and things like that, so.
In the winter, they probably need it to be a little bit warmer for the
concrete.
I think so, yeah. So, but it is moving right along, so we're watching on that. So again, we're holding interviews for building commissioner position and veteran service agent on this Friday, the 17th. And I hope to present candidates to the board on the January 28th meeting, for consideration. So hoping that move that forward. Part-time administrative assistant vacancy in our office is posted. We had some real excellent resumes, and I have scheduled interviews for Wednesday, the 22nd. I've had 3 people confirm. Unfortunately, 2 people declined, so I kind of opened it back up to see what other applications we get. But again, I hope to have somebody, if all works out, to present some candidates to the board on the January 28th meeting, because I really want to get these positions filled.
Definitely.
And we've been working with the departments to get their budgets submitted, looking at both with an override, without an override, and get everything ready for presentation to the board. Hopefully I would like to do something January 28th, because again, I'm going to be out that next week. I'm going to be having surgery, so I'm out the next week. So if I'm able to make it to February 11th, I won't have any time to prepare before that. So I'm hoping to do this January 28th. Eric and I have been really working very hard together with coming up with thoughts for union proposals, things like that, that we will talk about in executive session. And again, Ed mentioned the Whitman Hanson Community Access, the new YouTube page, so he read about that. I was just gonna mention that as well. And that completes my town administrator report for today.
Couple of questions. Have we entertained, in light of the fact that we are having the override, which may not pass, I know we've got critical positions that need to be filled. Have we entertained a hiring freeze on any other positions from now until May town meeting for what I would deem non-critical, whatever those are?
Well,
I don't know, just,
we really don't have any non-critical positions because the positions that we have are all critical. We're actually replacing somebody that's left.
I'm not just talking about town hall. I'm talking about townwide.
Yeah. No, we haven't put in a hiring freeze because we're already short-staffed. The highway department is going to be posting for a laborer position, which they've had the money in their budget for that position. We were waiting for a highway director to come on board, which came on board in September. Then we needed to hire a mechanic, go through that process, and now this. But this will be it. This will complete, they'll still have a position, but they will not be filling it, which is a heavy equipment operator.
When's that laborer's position getting posted?
He put it on my desk today, so, we have to post it in-house because it is a union position first for 7 days, and then we'll post it outside. But other than that, we're not hiring any other positions apart from police, apart from fire. They're not hiring in positions in town hall. We're not hiring any other positions. The IT director and then the IT specialist who will hopefully come on board after town meeting and things like that. So these are critical positions, and, the town of Bourne just suffered a cyber attack.
Yep, they did.
So it's getting close. Yep. So we really need to pay attention to that and get people on board to safeguard our security systems.
Yeah, just to be clear, I wasn't suggesting that the IT director or anybody shouldn't be hired. I just was prospectively going forward, as we lose people, we should really, if that happens,
Well, the people
between
that
now and May.
want to fill positions are the police and fire.
Yeah.
Specifically police.
Yeah, I mean, we need them.
We can't
No,
freeze that.
those we can't, no.
So we're not adding
Yeah.
additional, we're just, we're replacing people who have left. The only additional one is the IT specialist was really the IT assistant. We just renamed it, a different name.
Which we had, but we never replaced.
We had her, we didn't replace her.
The Veterans Services Officer, I know that, that was a, spicy conversation that we had as a, board. And I know that you had, reached out, but I assume that, he wanted to move forward with
Yes,
moving on.
yes.
Okay.
Correct. But he is staying on until we, do have someone in place.
Okay.
He actually, I did invite him to maybe join in the interview with me on Friday.
I was wondering, and I was wondering whether, did you want to be part of that interview, or? I mean, I feel like that's,
I mean, I could be.
Yeah, I should be.
if you could, I think it would be beneficial for us.
Evaluation.
Yeah,
What time are you meeting on Friday?
It's at, I believe 11 o'clock. Let me just double check.
Well, we could.
Yeah, it's at 11 o'clock.
The second blue moon.
I'll have to check my,
because-
I'll have to check my blood.
Check with your social director.
I have to check my blood.
Yeah, check your blood, oh geez, you're old school with the blotter, okay. That's great, Ms. May, thank you. That brings us to adjournment, for executive session pursuant to open meeting law, chapter 38, section 21A3, to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining or litigation, if an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the bargaining or litigating position of the public body and the chair so declares, litigation discussions, union negotiations. Executive session pursuant to open meeting law, chapter 38, section 21A7, to review and approve executive session minutes not to be released December 10th, 2024. I will entertain motion to adjourn and enter executive session. We will not be returning to open session.
So moved.
Second.
So sad.
Roll call.
Aye.
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 Thank you, and we will not be returning to open session.